Hey guys, welcome to Pathfinder's Vault, where we talk about finance, credit, and other interesting subjects. Today I'm going to be talking about credit scores, what they are, who calculates them, what they are encompassed of, what the rating of them are, etc. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'm happy to talk about it some more. We're going to do this while playing some Apex, so please feel free to comment on my gameplay and decisions and whatnot. I'm sure I'll be making some bad ones. Anyways, credit scores. There's three main bureaus here in the US. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Those are the three main agencies that sort of keep track of your credit and keep track of like everything that you buy, how you use your credit cards, how you use your mortgage loans and whatnot. Basically, they keep track of the history of getting loans and making payments, right? Whether you're making it on time or not on time, all that. And a tool they use to calculate, how good you are at doing that, at paying your loans and getting you payments, is what's called the credit score. So they have basically a number range. That's a 3-digit number that goes from 350 to 850. Thank you. And the higher, the better as a consumer. Meaning, if you have a pretty high credit score, it means you're worthy of a good, loan. You're worthy of a good offer in terms of credit cards and all that. 350 means that you are basically the opposite. It means that you have been irresponsible with your credit, or you've had bankruptcies, or high delinquencies. Delinquencies are not paying on time. So what are the models that these bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, can use to determine that range, right? That 350 to 850 that we're talking about. There's two models, basically. One of them is FICO, which is the most common one. Everyone, I think, has heard of FICO, or a lot of people have heard of FICO scores. But there's another competitor called Vantage, VANTHGE. They're basically the same thing. The scaling and everything is the same, and like the purpose of it is the same. It's just the way that it's calculated that it's a little bit different. FICO was created by the FICO company, Fair Isaac Corporation, in the 70s and 80s. They're kind of like the innovators of that. But they're their own private corporation. So these three bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, wanted to have their own thing without having to pay FICO. And they also wanted to have an alternative to make sure it was calculated the right way. And so they created what's called the Vantage score, which, if you compare your Vantage and your FICO score, it's gonna, be very, very similar. Like, not exactly the same, but it's gonna be pretty close to each other. So, what are the ranges of scores? Remember, I said it goes from 350 to 850. Of course, that's if you are, qualified for a credit score, right? Like someone who's 16 who hasn't had any credit exposure will definitely not have a score. They would probably have a score of 0 or something like that, an exclusion.
Enemies have been here.
So, what are the ranges? Basically, below 550 is considered poor. It's considered like really subprime, like not good at all, basically. That means that you've had delays in your payments. You've had perhaps declaring for bankruptcies. You've definitely misused your credit. Freaking caustic. That's really not where you want to be, below 550. There's obviously ways to improve it, but if you are below there, it's going to take a while. Between 550 and 649 is kind of poor, but getting better. Oh, there's people flying. Let me.
Inside the ring.
So anyways, what's the rating of the scores? Below 550, it's bad. Like I was saying, you've had delays in payments, bankruptcies. Between 550 and 649 is poor, meaning it's not great. Obviously, you're working towards improving it, or you are either climbing up or sinking down, but you're in a bad place still with the system. Like, they don't see you positively if you're between 550 and 649. Between 650 and 699, that's pretty much like the average score. Perhaps you've had a minor slip up, you forgot to pay your credit card once. Nothing severe of like people having to go to collections on you or anything like that, but it's still not great. You can still get decent loans offered and an okay interest rate, but it's not going to be great. Between 700 and 749, that's what's considered like a good score. That's where most people want to be, and it's where most people tend to be. At that point, you get good loans, good rates. The 710, 715 is very, very common score. And then 750 plus, 750 to 850 really, which is the maximum, is excellent. It means you have like the best credit profile that you can have. It's what you consider like a prime customer. So how is the credit score calculated? Whether it's the FICO or the Vantage, they both have kind of like the same ingredients that go into the recipe. Maybe they change up a little bit, like how much quote-unquote salt or sugar they add to each recipe, but and overall it's the same, the same recipe. And so it's basically 5 factors. The first one is your payment history. So how good have you been paying your loans, right? Like, have you been keeping current in every single loan? Have you gone 30 days past due, 60 days past due, 90 days past due, etc.? That's the first part of it. I'm gonna kill this guy real quick first. That was pretty clean. There's another. No, not but I can look at this time. And he punched us to death. He's one shot. Come on, guys. He's one shot over here. He's rezzing.
Contact with target. Throwing arc star. Making contact with enemy.
These guys will come by.
First blood. Contact with hostile. Your time is not over yet.
Nice teammates. Thank you, man. I'm gonna go push in because I know that they're low. They didn't have anything. Anyway, so the first factor, yeah, it's your payment history, right? How frequently you pay current your loans. The tricky part about this, and it's something that people find very annoying, I totally agree with that, is that if you have paid current for like 5 years, right, that means 60 months of paying on time in a row. You have one slip up, they like ding you for that pretty well, and it is annoying. Like, of course, like you don't want that as a consumer, but like it is what it is. That's the main factor, to be honest, with payment history. The next factor is the credit utilization. What that is simply how much you use the limit or the credit that you have available to you. So like whenever you have a credit card, know that you always have a limit, like $1,000, $2,000. That's the maximum that you can spend. Credit utilization is how much of that $1,000 you're using. Really wreck that guy.
Recharging shields. Scanning the area.
They're kind of standing still. Let's nade them. See if we get lucky. We did get lucky. Right close R. Gonna finish him for shield, not to use our back. Quick reload. 89, favorite zone.
Hell yeah.
Marking our surroundings.
Oh, there seems to be people in the vault.
Let's go this way. Contact with hostile.
I'll be talking about the credit history in a second.
Reloading.
Wow, sorry,
We
buddy.
killed the last member. Good work.
Give me a sec. Recharging shields.
ER 400 combo, always good. Always good to have.
Marking our surroundings. Taking a moment.
Trying to make these guys. See what kind of shield they have first. Top guy has blue.
Fire,
This
friends.
guy has blue as well. This guy down.
Enemy.
This guy hard. I'll duck and weave. Try and run, but you're not gonna get
Marking our surroundings.
We made a lot of noise though. She's a quick Phoenix, talking about credit utilization. So yeah, how much credit card you're using. $1,000, $2,000 is what a lot of people have, and so if you're using a couple $100, your utilization as a percentage is going to be pretty low. If you're using a lot of it, well, obviously it's going to be high. The higher means you have less available in case something bad happens, so that's why they ding you for high credit utilization. The next subject that they like to look at is your credit history, meaning how much experience you have with the system, how much experience you have with loans and all that. The more experience you have, obviously, the better. The next subject is credit mix, meaning like, do you have a mortgage, a auto loan, a credit card? Like a combination of all those things means you are also an experienced person with the finance industry, so they like that. The more of a mix you have, the better.
Might be something
And then
good
finally,
this way.
new credit. It's basically your inquiries and how much you're requesting for new credit, right? If you're like searching like crazy to try to get a new loan, well, they're not going to look kindly on that. They're going to think that you're like, desperately in need for something, which might honestly be the case, and so they'll ding you for that. The final thing I want to talk about is how to improve your credit score. So let's say you have it at
Half the squads
650
remain.
and
Let's
you want to
keep
get to
winning.
that 750 plus to get amazing interest rates, good credit cards. How do you improve it? There's a couple of ways. Obviously, paying on time. That's like the most important thing that you can do. But also paying down balances of credit cards, right? If you have like a lot of credit card utilization, you're going to not only bring down your balances, you're going to not only bring down the utilization, but you're going to like appear to be leaving debt. So if you're like distributing it across multiple loans and whatnot, that can be a very good thing. The next thing is if you only have like utility bills or like a small credit card, you should try to increase your credit mix. But be careful though, like if you increase it too much, that's when they think that you're applying for like too much credit, and like they're still ding you for having like too many hard inquiries. Oh yeah, what's the difference between hard inquiries and soft inquiries? People always ask that. So a hard inquiry is when you're like formally requesting for a loan. Let's say I go to an auto dealership and I'm interested in the car, and I really want to take it home with me. That's what a hard inquiry is. They'll actually like run your credit. But like if you're trying to sign a new lease, they only need to know what your credit score is and like whether you've had any issues in the past. They don't actually need to run your credit for real. So that's what's called a soft inquiry.
Hostile spotted.
Just remember, you can always check your credit score for free once a year from each of the bureaus. So like you get 3 free scores a year, and then you can always use like Credit Karma to like access it as well. Let's fight these guys real quick and I'll talk about how to access it again. Missed that.
Enemy taken down. Giving my shields a recharge.
They're above. There's definitely 2 spots here.
Recharging my shield.
Throwing thermite grenade. Thermite grenade out.
I'm taking fire.
Champion out.
Reloading.
That's well for
Took out
teammates.
the hostile. Took out the hostile.
Fighting someone else doesn't even see me, and I missed that.
Whole squad down. Now we can loot them.
Heavy kill.
Fire.
Reloading.
Fire.
I'm taking fire. Battling the enemy.
Taking a knee.
Another guy coming from here. Down. Teammate over there.
Here I go.
Oh, that's a totally different spot.
More enemies down.
Those guys
Wow,
are
looks like that was
destroyed.
the last one in the squad.
Go down.
Teammates now.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Just reload while we use it.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Taking fire. Firing. Reload. That was the last of them. Another squad.
Oh, there's another squad here.
Our squad mate's banner.
Ooh, we gotta go resin far.
Off the mic. I'm spotted.
Oh, they're on the other side of it.
Top of the chimney.
Let's just go get these guys.
Enemy down. Reloading.
Close the door on him.
Recharging shield.
Spotted. Double timing it.
Wow, looks like there's
Now let's back coming.
Only 2 enemy squads left. Sandwich. Good work. We're
We just
inside
run
the
here a
next
little
ring.
bit.
move
Hide
this way.
at Phoenix.
using my Phoenix kit.
Let's go res them real quick.
Care package.
Here, I meet these guys.
Care package incoming. Y'all
Let's
learn.
go res them real quick.
Watch your backs.
Ready to fly on a zip line. I am.
Oscar Mike. I'm spotted. Popping smoke.
So yeah, that's the story about, you know, credit scores. You know, just remember again, like I said, you can check them online for free. You're entitled to do that 3 times a year. Annual credit report is the website. Yeah, make sure you check that. Oh boy, there's people here. This is probably not the best of ideas, but we'll see how this guy does. I did not mean to cut you up as cannon fodder.
I am taking fire, friends.
I return to the heart.
See if we got a Kraber here. Make it a lot easier.
I'm taking fire.
Let's explore this way.
Oscar, need lead.
Let's go this way.
Target over there.
Eyes up. Incoming rescue unit.
Another triple take, wow.
Recharging shields.
It might be here, the crepes.
Bless me with sight.
Check it out real quick.
Pop in the chimney. Give my shields a recharge.
That fuse ult is pretty scary indoors. Not so much outdoors.
Zip line.
Charge up Sentinel. Super scary. 140 per headshot.
Enemy spotted.
Giving my shields a
That guy right here.
contact with target. Fire, friends.
I'll clip that guy. Our team's coming by.
There is another squad. They are attacking.
Reloading. Recharging shield.
Tango
We're gonna go zip to there and fight as soon as we do that. One squad left. And that's how you do it, boys. I know this is a pretty easy lobby, but to talk about finance, we can keep it that way for a little bit until we get better ranks. Alright, let me know if you have any questions.
You are the Apex champion.
Thanks, Gromp. Trying to do it.